Lyra Sunstone. The chipped porcelain of the teacup warmed my hands, a familiar comfort. Each morning began the same. Earl Grey, a slice of lemon cake from Madame Dubois' bakery, and the meticulous cataloguing of sea charts. I, Lyra Sunstone, wasn't a sailor, not precisely. I collected the stories of sailors, the whispers of currents and lost lands. My small apartment above the docks of Port Azure was filled with them, rolled tight and tied with faded ribbon. It was a quiet life. Predictable. Perhaps too predictable, I sometimes thought, tracing the lines of a map depicting the Azure Sea. A life lived in the shadow of stories, not in one. The stillness shattered with a single, insistent chime, the bell of the lighthouse, signaling distress. Unusual. It wasn't a storm, and the Azure Sea, despite its name, rarely held true surprises. I rushed to the window, peering through the salt-laced air. The lighthouse keeper, old Manuel, was frantically signaling with a mirrored flash, not towards the open sea, but towards the shallows, the reefs known as the sunken teeth. Then, a sickening lurch. The lighthouse beam flickered, died, and the bell fell silent. Something was very wrong. The harbour master dismissed my concerns. Just a power failure, Lyra. Manuel's generator probably gave out, but Manuel was meticulous about his generator. I borrowed a small skiff and navigated through the sunken teeth, the jagged reefs living up to their name. The lighthouse stood stark and silent. Inside, no sign of a struggle, but the generator room, it wasn't a mechanical failure. The control panel was shattered, almost melted, and etched into the metal, a symbol I'd only seen in ancient, forbidden texts, the trident of Vorlag, the drowned king of Arelon. Old Silas, the town historian, was my next stop. He'd spent a lifetime deciphering the myths of Arelon, a kingdom swallowed by the sea centuries ago. He confirmed my fears. The trident symbol was real, a mark of Vorlag's cult. He spoke of a legend, a way to raise Arelon from the depths, but dismissed it as folklore. A beautiful story, Lyra, but nothing more. Vorlag is a ghost, his kingdom dust. Yet, he directed me to the archives, to a collection of salvaged Arelonian artifacts. Hours I spent there, but all I found were fragments, broken pottery, tarnished jewelry, nothing substantial, nothing that could explain the attack on the lighthouse. Doubt began to creep in. Was I chasing shadows? I found him hunched over a game of dice in the Salty Siren Tavern, Captain Ronan, a smuggler with a reputation for discretion. He owed me a favor, a rare chart I'd recovered for him from a shipwreck. He wasn't a scholar, wasn't interested in legends. But he knew the sea, and he knew who trafficked in the forbidden. He admitted to hearing whispers, rumors of a black market dealer trading in Arelonian relics, a man known only as the Collector. He wouldn't give me the Collector's location directly, but he offered his ship, the Sea Serpent, and his first mate, Elena, to help me search the hidden coves along the Serpent's Coast. The Serpent's Coast was a labyrinth of hidden inlets and treacherous currents. We found signs, strange symbols carved into the cliffs, abandoned fishing villages, and a growing unease among the coastal communities. People spoke of the sea growing colder, of unusual tides, of lights flickering beneath the waves. Then, the attacks began. Small fishing boats disappearing, coastal watchtowers sabotaged. It wasn't random, it was deliberate. Someone was disrupting the coastline, preparing for something. The Collector wasn't just a relic hunter, he was an instrument. We cornered one of the Collector's enforcers in a smuggler's cave, a hulking brute named Krell, armed with a harpoon and a disturbing aquatic tattoo that seemed to writhe beneath his skin. He wasn't a skilled fighter, but his strength was formidable. Elena, surprisingly agile and a master of close combat, kept him occupied while I searched the cave. I found a logbook detailing shipments of Arelonian artifacts to a remote island. I'll mourn, and a chilling entry, the convergence nears. The king will rise. Krell, enraged, broke free and lunged for me, but Alina tackled him, sending us both tumbling into the churning sea. We subdued him, but the encounter left me shaken. This wasn't just about relics anymore. Isle Morn was a volcanic rock shrouded in mist, a place shunned by sailors. We found the Collector's fortress hidden within a caldera. Inside, the fortress was a museum of Airolonian artifacts arranged around a massive obsidian altar. And there, in the center of the altar, was the key, a crystalline orb, pulsing with an eerie blue light. It was the heart of Airolon, the source of the kingdom's power. The Collector, a gaunt, fanatical man, revealed his plan to use the heart to raise Airolon from the depths, restoring Vorlag to his throne and unleashing his wrath upon the world. He believed the surface world had betrayed Airolon, and it was time for retribution. The confrontation was swift and brutal. The Collector, empowered by the heart, possessed terrifying strength and could manipulate the sea itself. Alina fought bravely, distracting him while I searched for a way to disable the heart. I remembered Silas's words. The heart was vulnerable to disruption, to a specific harmonic frequency. Using a salvaged Airolonian flute, I played a dissonant melody, a counterpoint to the heart's rhythm. The crystal began to crack, its blue light flickering. The Collector screamed in agony as his power waned. Alina seized the opportunity, disarming him and binding him with enchanted rope. As the heart shattered, the sea began to calm, and the ominous darkness that had enveloped Isle Morn dissipated. The world didn't know how close it had come to disaster. The Collector was taken into custody, and the remaining Airolonian artifacts were secured. I returned to Port Azure, my apartment feeling smaller, yet somehow different. The chipped porcelain of the teacup still warmed my hands, but now it held a weight, a memory of a story I had lived, not just collected. I was no longer simply a cataloguer of tales. I was a part of one. The Azure Sea still held its secrets, but I knew with a quiet certainty that I would be ready when the next one surfaced.